morning, Las Vegas. This is Tina Drago with Healthy Las Vegas, KDWN 720 in Studio A. Today I have Noa Peri-Jensch with me. She is an independent consultant and has worked successfully over the last 15 years with thousands of individuals. Today she's here to talk to us about how communication can reduce the stress in the workforce. And I think she'll probably give us a lot of enlightenment about how to effectively communicate and know that when we're talking to somebody, they're actually hearing us. Hi, Noa. How are you today?
Hi, Tina. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so here's your moment to tell me a little bit about you that I haven't told everybody already.
Oh, my.
Put me on the spot.
Well, what to know about me is, well, you know what? I think I'm going to start with something I read this morning at the Harvard Business Review. And they wrote about to really ace a job interview, you've got to have two things. You know, forget all the credential, all the resume, the CV, everything you write down. It's all important. But there are two things you got to convey. One is warmth, and the other one is competence. If you're able to show warmth in any kind of human interactions, you build trustworthiness. So I would guess that is something that you may have not said about me.
No, so you're going to teach people how to like me?
Well,
or teach me how to get people to like me.
Yeah, I can teach you how to make people trust you.
Excellent.
By showing more your competency, I mean, which you are wonderful, but also how you also can care about the topic, about people. So yeah.
I find I get the cold fish. People think I'm kind of standoffish, a little cold, not sure how to approach me.
Well, you know, I think people, you know, generally women in business, I think we came a long way, right? You know, I'm thinking about the Rosie the River from the 50s trying to be tough. And for many years, we needed to be tough and play like the guys, the good old school guys. But over the years, we realized we don't have to be as tough. We don't have to be like the men. The men can be more like us, too.
That's true.
I think there are elements in us that that would help people relate to us more being humble or showing vulnerability and these type of things.
Okay, I can see that because, you know, when I'm talking to people, and especially when I'm talking to guys, I actually had men in my office yesterday, so this is perfect. And they were telling me that, you know, Tina, we know it's passion, but sometimes you're really aggressive and you scare people.
You know?
And I said to him, well, what happens when you get passionate? I said, why is that a girl thing to be aggressive? And a guy thing is like, it's cool, he's a leader. I said, come on, let's talk about this. And they really didn't know what to say when I approached them like that. See, these are the dog walks. Just so you guys know, Noa and I know each other through Lily, Nacho, and Blue. Our dogs are buddies, and we walk in the morning, and it just so happens, she has this wealth of knowledge. Noa, and I asked her if she would come and share it with us and give people some insight as to different ways of approaching situations, especially in the workforce.
Yes. And you know what, just for what you said about a man would be passionate if he's raising his voice, and a woman would be, she's overly emotional or aggressive. And I think Sheryl Sandberg, right, one of the chief operating officers at Facebook who wrote Lean In, said it beautifully. She said, you know, when for a girl who shows leadership skills, people will say, she's a bossy.
Yes.
But for a boy, it's going to be, he's showing leadership characteristics. So it's not just about boys and girls. I think we all have our tendencies to do something really well, and then when we do it a little too much, it becomes a derailer. So I think we all have to watch out.
Derailer.
The career derailers.
Yeah, that could be my middle name.
No. I cannot believe that, Tina. You've done amazing. I mean, through our dogs, I've learned, right? For the past 2 years, every time I run into you on the trail and hear about what you do for the First Person A clinic, it's amazing. And sometimes you need to have that kind of go-getter approach in certain times of any project. But then, you know, sometimes you can also situational leadership, right?
Yes.
You don't need to have the elbows up front all the time. There are times where you can just...
I could see that. You know, I do, because I've had my head down and I've been in the trenches and I've just been moving to get to the clinic to where it needs to be for me to feel like it's on a solid foundation. Mm-hmm. And now we're starting to recognize that. And that's wonderful. And this is where I should be able to take a step back and allow the people that are in place to really take the leadership roles on. And I'm making some super glue myself to my chair in my office, and I'm calling those people in, and I'm like, okay, now you have to handle these situations, and I'm promoting that.
Yeah, and when working with a team, when you have a leader that takes all the responsibility and does everything themselves because they know, hey, I know what to do. I'll do it quicker. I'll do it faster. And probably I'll do it better. It doesn't leave much room for the team.
Yes.
How can they contribute if the leader does it all and probably will do it better and faster? And there's no area to learn and grow. So sometimes leaders like yourself say, you know what, I know I can do it, but my job is to make them being able to do it as good and even better than I could have ever possibly do it.
I kind of put it akin to raising children. I have 2 boys, young men.
Yes, of
And
course.
my job as a mother is to raise them to be productive members of society, not to take care of them their whole life. And so you have to pat yourself on the back when they start doing that. And the same way with employees and your team members in your workforce. You have to pat yourself on the back when you see them taking the ball and rolling with it.
Yeah, and even if it's not perfect right away,
Yes.
right? And that's where we fall back. Oh, let me do it, let me help out.
I just sent my first employee to his first educational seminar in California. And he called me up yesterday and he's like, this is so awesome. I want to go on all of these. I want to keep going to these, because he was learning so much and he was being able to network, and he was pulling ideas together, and he was asking questions, and he really felt like, now I get to contribute to the organization. Now I get to bring something back, and I get to be that information source. And from now on, he can go to all of them. I'm excited for him that he's excited. And it was really nice.
Sending people for training, you don't even have to send them to training. Even taking them in and say, hey, why don't you sit with me now for the next 15 minutes, see how I do my work, or come with me to the board meeting. It's such a great motivational tool. I mean, they'll come back, want to do better, want to make the business successful because they know that you believe in them, that you invested in them. So way to go on sending that young fellow.
So we're going to come to one of our first major topics, and it's how to develop a strong emotional intelligence and how that helps in health. How making sure you have a strong intelligence and you're emotionally secure helps with stress, helps with communication. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, sure. Emotional intelligence has been there ever since, right? But it just, I would say, in the 80s, Daniel Goleman and some other amazing people started to research it. What does it mean to have, we all have emotions, but what are we doing with our emotions? And how do we not become hijacked by our emotions? How many times, Tina, you've been in a situation and said to yourself, oh my gosh, I wish I did not say that. I wish I could take it back. I wish I didn't.
Does daily count?
Minute by minute, right? And so emotional intelligence is really about developing that self-awareness, saying, this is how I feel right now, and make it real, make it true to yourself, not trying to, I'm good when you're not good, because it's going to catch up on you. You're going to explode. The other piece is really having, how do you regulate yourself? Well, I know I feel jealousy right now. Maybe I feel rejected right now. Maybe I feel angry right now. But how do I regulate my emotions so I don't derail my career, that I'm not saying the wrong thing to the wrong people?
What's funny about that is yesterday with these 2 gentlemen, I actually felt some betrayal and lots of anger. And I really tried not to yell. But as they so pointedly told me, my eyes were screaming at them. They're like, you don't have, I'm like, I did not yell at you. And they're like, no, but that look on your face, oh my God. So yeah, I have to do the whole thing because I don't have a poker face.
And you know what? We all have a default face. I found out not too long ago, my daughters, apparently when I do not think of anything happy or sad, when I'm just in a zone, my face just looks sad. So my daughters would come to me and say, Mommy, what happened? Why are you sad? And I said, what are you talking about? I'm not sad. But then I went to the mirror. Honestly, I went to the mirror and I looked at myself. When I'm not talking, when I'm not using any facial expressions, the way my eyes shaped or my lips or my nose, I don't know, I look sad. And I realize we all have our default face. Yeah. And sometimes this default face sends really wrong messages to other people. I have a client that when she thinks, just concentrating, she looks like, and people can't see it on the
like
radio.
She's going to the bathroom?
She really looks like she's constipated, yeah. Seriously. But that's her default place. She's thinking.
Wow.
Now, having that face in a team, it affects the team. So I think self-awareness, be aware of what you look like.
Now I'm going to be in the mirror. I'm going to be in the mirror today.
I think every executive should have a little mirror on his desk before they make a call, before they talk to people. Just what am I conveying?
Okay.
But back to emotional intelligence. So you got to learn how to kind of get in the zone where your emotions don't get in the way. Mm-hmm. And then the other piece is, how do you notice other people's emotions, how other people are feeling, and then how do you manage relationships? And I think it's one of the most important, and we see it again and again in job performances. People with high emotional intelligence are doing by far better. They earn average of $30,000 more a year than people with low
so I can
emotional
give myself
intelligence.
A raise.
Yeah.
Hey, people, give yourself a raise. Have some emotional intelligence secure. Okay, I like that. Because we all like that, right?
Well, I think it makes life easier because we all are in different places and times. And if we're not aware of each other's emotions, and emotions do matter. Some people say, oh, leave your emotions at work and this is all business. But you can't.
We're all human.
We're all human, right? So how do we best manage our emotions will make an impact on our business?
I want productivity. I don't want drama. And I'm not the first person to go pat somebody on the back and say, hey, you did a great job. I just expect them to be productive because that's what they're applied for the job for. That's what they get paid for. And that, I would think, would give them their own personal satisfaction. How wrong can I be?
Well, it seems that it works for you. So I think what you're saying really is, how do I know what keeps my employees motivated?
Yeah.
And shouldn't they just be motivated by joining the cause of the amazing work we do? Shouldn't they all feel like I feel? And reality is no, not really. I mean, somehow true. Maybe, of course, if they apply, they know the importance of the work. They are for sure passionate to some level. Everybody goes to work in the morning hoping to do a good job. Mm-hmm. But we all have different motivators. We all have different values and beliefs and what gets us going. For some people it will be just being able to help save the day, help a patient. But the nice word or great job or a little letter, I appreciate what you do, can go such a long way. And we talked about money raise. It's really not about the money, what people are really looking for.
Right.
Just a nice thank you can go such a long way for people to want to do more.
I find that I have to stop myself every so often and really say, I appreciate the work you're doing. And it's sincere, but it's not something I would naturally just do automatically. I have to actually consciously tell myself, hey, that person needs to understand that they're appreciated.
Yeah, but I would not compromise your business results, right? You have your business objectives, and yes, people should deliver. People should come to work to give the best and deliver results. But there are ways to get the results come faster and better, with the emotional intelligence around it.
So going into that, how do we work with difficult people? And are those people really difficult, or is it just a personality clash?
Oh, I love that. I bet whomever is listening to us right now, think about it. Who is the most difficult person in your life right now, whether it's in your family or at work, and the most difficult person? And when you think about that person, I want you to think, is that person is really difficult, or are they really different than me? And when you just ask that question, you may realize they have just a different way of working or analyzing information, recharging energy, talking, speaking, writing, time management, problem solving, just name it. It may be very, very different than yours. Now, would that make it difficult for you? Yes, it would. But, and most likely, I would say, if I ask that person who is the most difficult person for them to work with, they may point their finger to you. So yeah, it's difficult, but it's mostly different. So to me, it's having a conversation. What about that person that really bugs me? And can I just take that piece, that behavior, separate that from the person and try and work with that?
So we're speaking to Noa Peri-Jensch with the Global Momentum, and you can talk to her or communicate with her at www.theglobalmomentum.com. I'm sure she would love to hear your questions. Come in and do teamwork studies with your organization or one-on-one training.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Here's my thing. If I have a difficult person, I need to be more trusting, or they need to maybe talk to me. How do I get them to open up and talk to me? Does that go back to the being nice?
Yeah. It goes back to choosing your battles, because there's going to be difficult people everywhere. How important is you resolving that relationship or that difficult behavior? How is that impacting you, the team, the business? And if you say, no, this is affecting all of us,
right,
this is important, then, you can't be in denial about it. You can't vent to other people about it, which we all do. So much easier to go to somebody else. Oh my gosh, could you believe it? That person just drove me crazy. I can't believe she did it again, interrupting me in the middle of we know how it goes. It's so much easier to address it with the people who are not in the room. So the first thing I would say, is this important? Yes. Now, separate the behavior from the person and just look at the facts, and then definitely address it with the person who can actually change the behavior, not with the people at the water fountain, if they steal water fountains.
I'm a huge proponent of not gossiping and not talking, not spinning your wheels without being productive. So if people come into my office and say, oh, this happened or that happened and I can't believe it, the first thing I'll do is call that person in. Let's sit down and talk.
Yes.
And they kind of get stunned by that. But I'm like, I'm not here to listen to gossip, or I'm not here to listen to just your opinion. Mm-hmm. Let's resolve the situation.
And so many times people are not aware that they are bugging other people. Really. We have these blind spots, we all do, where we can do things that just irritate other people.
I'm not irritated.
No, of course, not you. No, not
Never
here.
Me, never.
Never. But if those people are not given the gift of feedback, how could they change? How could... but you also need to be willing to receive feedback. So I think if you have a relationship where your employees know they can come to you and say, hey, when this happened, that was the effect on me. Can we make sure it doesn't happen again? If you accept it well, people will accept your feedback too.
It brings me to a situation we had last week, and we have these situations all the time at First Person Care Clinic, where we deal with everybody in the community, and sometimes we deal with people that have mental diseases, or they maybe have PTSD or something. And we had a gentleman calling, cursing out the front desk, and hanging up. And then calling back again, cursing, hanging up, calling back again. And my manager came into me and he goes, we're going to have to discharge this patient. They're calling, he's super aggressive. He's swearing at the staff. And I said, look up his chart and see if he has a mental illness. And yes, he was schizophrenic bipolar. And I said, call him back, tell him he can't swear at you, and ask him what his issue is. And it literally took us initiating the call back to him for him to be like, hello, how are things going? Because him calling us was just his way of saying, pay attention to me.
Yes.
And pay attention to me now. And then once we got it under control, then, he got the services he needed, and we stopped getting, these phone calls that were disturbing.
Isn't that interesting? Because we know as parents that this is, the number one for kids, strategy for kids to get attention.
Negative behavior.
Right? If I get reinforced for the negative, we have that at work too. We have people who are seeking for the attention, just they don't know the productive way to get the attention, and they need to be taught.
Or they're not sure how to ask.
Yeah. They may not know how to ask. They may just think that just because it worked for them in the home front, they can just use it in the workplace. And it doesn't. But the thing is, people don't always... and I find also, we talked this morning in the car about cultures.
Yes.
I think there's a culture of, we don't... I used to live in Hong Kong for a few years, and the culture of not losing face, right? Yeah. You may not bring up the blind spots to people just to not offend them. But the problem is, who would bring that? I mean, the letter where you can't work here anymore, when that comes, there are moments where you can bring it up earlier in a different setting where people can really be receptive for the coaching and guidance.
So you have a really big event coming up on June 2nd.
Yes, I am so excited about it.
Tell me more about the Women in Leadership Seminar. And by the way, I'm going to be there so I can report back.
Yeah, Tina. Well, I tell you, I've worked for many years with men and women. Leaders are leaders, right? And coaching thousands of executives, thousands sounds, managers and executives. And what I find is that even though we all have certain skills and needs, and we all are expected to lead in a certain way, men and women are a little different. And I think women in particular in the workforce have some extra issues or extra challenges that men may not be even aware of. So the idea came, my partner for this program, Miriam Khalifa, and I, we said we really want to work with women about what women really want, what women really need, what do we really think in an environment where they feel safe and comfortable to just talk about everything. And so this leadership program is for high potential women with some kind of leader responsibilities, management responsibilities. And we want to invite them for 1-day seminar where we're going to be using a lot of self-awareness, the Hogan assessment, where they can find out more about their deep core values, beliefs, and motives. We talk about motivations, what makes them going. But also we're going to talk about how women have emerged the workforce. What is, the glass ceiling? How are we cracking it? And what does it mean to have an executive presence? Because and there's implications to confidence. And again, these are things that some men may have those too, but in general, women are, and research all over the place shows us that if there's a job offering and there's 10 qualifications, you got to be this. If a woman sees that there's one qualification that she does not have out of the 10, she probably will not apply. If a man see, hey, I have 3, 4, 5, I should go for it, they'll go for it.
Yeah.
And so many times, I think women are trying to get it right, get it perfect, get it exactly how it should be. And sometimes that is our career derailers. So this program is about finding your leadership strength, your career derailers. Also, what does it mean to have executive presence? What is your executive presence? How can you be respected and listened to and feel comfortable with who you are? As well as how do you manage it all? How do you work with your energy versus your clock? How do you manage the home front, the work front, and still be a valuable business member in your organization?
I think probably one of the biggest miscommunications people have about me is they think I'm one extreme or the other. So I'm either that take charge, aggressive, move forward woman, or I'm in the background and they don't think I know anything. And they underestimate me. And it's kind of funny. I'm more comfortable with them underestimating me. I'm more comfortable with them thinking I don't know what I'm doing than I would be with them thinking I'm too aggressive.
And why is that?
I don't know. Maybe we need to psychologically
I think we're going to have to take it off the microphone. But definitely we'll talk about it in the seminar.
But doesn't that seem odd? Because I'm sure I'm not the only woman like
no,
this.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. We all have different beliefs and way of thinking that maybe help us and work for us in a certain time. But we hold on to those behaviors where they may not be as effective today. What worked for me 20 years ago may not work for me now. And I love that book from Marshall, forgot his last name. He said, what got us here won't get us there. And it's so true. There's a time in everybody's career where you got to stop. Just stop what you're doing and think, what got me here, but it doesn't necessarily will take me to the next level.
Right.
And so it's a time to think about who do I want to show up at work, what kind of leader I want to be to take me to the next level. In addition to the 1-day program, every participant will have 2 private one-on-one executive coaching sessions. So we can really work on what's important to them on a personal basis and help them achieve their objectives.
Where will this event be taking place?
It's going to be taking place at the Siena Golf Club, and on Tuesday, June 2nd. If anyone, we actually have only very few spots left. So if anyone wants to join this program, I would encourage them to call right away to 702-334-4075.
Can we say that again?
Sure. 702-334-4075 to secure their spot.
This has been Tina Drago with Healthy Las Vegas, KDWN, 720 AM in Studio A with Noa Peri-Jensch. And Noa is with the globalmomentum.com consulting company. And we are very pleased to have her. Thank you so much for the time you've taken this morning.
Thank you. My pleasure. Good luck, everyone.